My brother's forgiven me. He, Dr. Hung, brother Numpsi has forgiven me. Dear brother, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah!
Welcome back to another episode of Brother Numpsi. We are in season 5. This is episode number 3. We appreciate everybody's attendance and joining us back here. We said it before and we'll say it again. Consistency, consistency, consistency. I
Yeah.
think we're doing a good job. What you think?
Yeah. I mean, we made it to 3 episodes, so we already ahead of the game.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and good feedback. I think that it's still, even with the episodes that the 2 episodes that we've done previously, with it those being out right now, we are, well, I know I am hearing some good feedback in regards to the topics that we're talking about. I don't know about you.
No, I really ain't heard nothing. So put your comments down, please, so I can read those. I'm not out here as much, so this is pretty much my only social media is through YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can put your comments down. I guess if you listening to it, I don't know if it's a way to comment on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever it is that you're listening through. But at any rate, put some comments down so we can read them, track it and everything. We can try to definitely shout you out if you're putting stuff down and things of that nature. But yeah, but I do see the numbers, right? So I see
Mhm.
the analytics of the numbers and I see that we going up. So more people watched the last episode than they did the first episode. So, thank you. Put the word out.
That's right.
Tell your family and friends, co-workers, what have you, let's have some water cooler conversations and see where this thing go.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a lot of things that have happened over the week, since the last time we had a
Yeah,
conversation.
2 weeks.
Yeah. But before we get into that, I want to let the people know that we did reach out to a past guest that we had on the show a couple seasons ago, and he will be joining us this evening. So whenever he pops on, we'll introduce him again, and we'll just keep the conversation moving.
Yep. Sound good.
All right. So let's just jump right back into it, brother. So I would say, with again, as we talked about before, with movies and TV. Can tell you that over the last couple of week and a half or so, I've been binge watching this new. Well, I don't know how new it is now anymore, but this TV show on Apple Plus called Neighbors and Friends.
This is
I
John
don't know if
Hamm.
you heard of it. It is.
I
It
hadn't
is.
I hadn't started it. I've heard of it. It seemed like he's a well-to-do guy that ends up losing his job, and in order to
Hmm.
provide for his family, he starts breaking into his neighbor and friends' houses. Does that sum it up?
That is sum it up. It does sum it up. And actually, you can sympathize with him in the very beginning, but then you realize he's this he was an elitist, I would say. He had a real
Hmm.
nice cushion job, and then some things happened where he lost the job, but then he still lives in a very nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
Is
there's
it like a
some circum
fun with Dick and Jane type situation?
ah close.
Mm.
I wouldn't say. Well, yeah, I guess you can say that. The reason why I was hesitant to saying it is because, of course, because this is a stretched out TV show over,
Mm.
like, 8 episodes or so. The storyline is a little bit slower, and Fun and Dick and Jane, everything was compressed to that
Yeah.
hour and a half, 2 hours. So yeah, I would say so then, because
Yeah.
in Fun and Dick and Jane, they had a montage of them robbing stuff or getting money, and
Yeah.
in this one, it's kind of spread out a little bit.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting premise. It always is to see how I guess the elitists or the rich struggle when they can't find the means to maintain a lifestyle, or they
Hmm.
don't want to fall out of the graces of the other elite and stuff like that.
Hmm.
There's another show, Gross Point Garden Society, I think is what it's called. Um,
Gross Point Garden Society.
I think that's what it's called, but it's on NBC, which is by way of Peacock.
Yep.
Uh, and essentially, it's a very well-to-do neighborhood, and there's a garden club, but you navigate their lives, and essentially, all these people want to appear to be doing better than what they really are. Like they're all
Hmm.
struggling in some type of way, but they don't want their friends to know,
It
of
sounds like
course.
social media to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody's just putting on their best face on social media to show, and but then as soon as that camera go off, they might be living in a one studio apartment.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure there's
So,
plenty of people out there that's vacationing and making it look like they're having a grand old time. And,
hmm
realistically, they go back to a Motel 6. They just get into a better spot to take a picture and then, you know,
But hey, that's how the world is moving. Well, at least the U.S. I would say is you fake it till you make it. A lot of these people, these influencers are faking it until they make it, until they can
yeah,
actually live that lifestyle.
facts.
And some of them are doing it, and some of them are not. But
I'm gonna start
to
putting
each his own.
a background on behind me. You know what I mean? Like I'm in Dubai or something. Because why not? That's what they doing. Just put a green
Exactly.
screen behind me, and we can be wherever. I'm in the Hall of Congress. Just doing a
hmm
podcast, chilling,
Why not?
whatever.
Yeah, why not? Going back to Neighbors and Friends real quick.
hmm
It's not only just a B&E type of TV show or whatever, but it also has some layers to it in regards to family, divorce and separation, and how the dynamics of how to navigate that situation uh, during a divorce, and how to co-parent and stuff like that. So it was pretty good. It's pretty good. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, they it's on my list. It's on my
Mhm.
list. It's on Apple, so it's on my list. Like just about everything on Apple is on my list. They don't miss that much.
Yeah, that is correct. There's a movie on Apple. I think we talked about it before. It was The Gorge. Have you seen that
Yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Gorge is good.
I haven't seen it though.
Oh, it's
Is
good.
so it's worth.
It's worth your time.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
no,
right. Well,
I think it's a good movie. Matter of fact, I just watched another movie that came out last year, Wolves, with Brad Pitt and George Clooney.
that was good too. I did watch that
Yeah,
on
no, I
Apple.
liked it.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
kind of mad at myself that I waited so long to watch it.
What?
You
Why?
know,
Yeah, really. Why did you wait? I mean, it's more like Ocean's 11, 10 ish
yeah,
because
I
it's George
mean,
Clooney and Brad Pitt. They have such good chemistry together.
I was overseas at the time, so just in a weird headspace, didn't feel like looking at it, I guess.
Got it. Got it. Uh, Going with the TV, I did binge watch another series that was on Netflix called Man on the Inside. This is a movie. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not a movie. A TV series with Ted Danson. I don't know
Oh
if you've
yeah,
seen that.
nah, I ain't watched
He
it.
Yeah, he's a older gentleman, retirement age, and is looking for something to do. His wife passed away. He has a daughter who's, out of the house, got their own family, whatever. He's just looking for something to do. And then sees an ad in the newspaper for somebody to help out with a private investigator. And that's what he does. He goes and helps a private investigator go into this old nursing home
hmm
or assisted living location, and it's a comedy, so it's pretty funny, but it also gets a little bit deep into what it's like as you get older, and then you are put into an assisted living facility, or you can't take care of yourself, and what goes on in that space, I would say.
I got you. Sounds interesting. I don't know when or if I will get around to it, to be quite honest. But I did, it was on my radar when it first came out. But you know how it is. There's so many things coming out every day that if you
Yeah.
don't catch it as soon as it come out, sometimes it just falls by the wayside.
Yeah, and again, that's why I was binge watching it, because I don't know when I was going to have the time to actually sit and watch it again. So
hmm
I just blow through it. So really, um, the Ted Danson one, the Man on the Inside, those are like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
S-
I like a
s-
good 30-minute show.
Yeah, so that went pretty fast. But
Yeah.
the other one, the Neighbors and Friends, those are like 45, 50 minutes. That was a
Yeah.
long time.
Sometimes you're just in the mood for a good 30 minutes. That's all you got. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I'm gonna hit this real quick, maybe get 2 episodes in and go to bed.
Yep.
Matter of fact, speaking of 30-minute episodes and Apple, going back to Apple, I was looking at Mythic Quest, which I think you recommended at one
I
point.
did. Yes, sir.
Solid
What you think?
show. I'm liking it so
So
far.
season one, that's where you
Yeah,
at, right?
I'm on season
Okay.
one. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
on
yeah,
season one.
yeah. Solid show.
Yeah, solid show. It's pretty
Yeah.
funny. It's funnier than I thought it was gonna be. It's not laugh out
Especially if you like
loud. It's
video
just like, ha,
games.
that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, it's good.
Um, I finished the last season. Yeah, they kind of. in my opinion, as the seasons go on, they kind of fall off. To me, they're not as funny and they're not as good as the first season. The first season was like A1. The next
Mm,
couple of seasons, they actually started to drop off a little bit to me. But I still watched them because the first season was so good. I was like, man, they got to go back to the original recipe.
right. Yeah. Now we'll see. They got that spinoff too, so
Now, I did start watching the spinoff, honestly, and there are a couple episodes. They're different than Mythic Quest. So Mythic Quest is they have their own storyline. The spinoffs are like mini pilot episodes to me. They still have the Mythic Quest theme to it, where it's all about comics and video games, but each one of the episodes is different, and they don't seem like they connect to each other at all. That's why I say they seem like they're their own mini pilot episodes.
so it's like
Um,
the it has one episode in season one, at least so far, where it goes back to a couple that like they get together. It's the dude from New Girl. Um and essentially he meets a girl. They start their own video game, and then she wants to stay true to what they originally built, where he is like trying to grow viewership.
mhm.
And then they end up getting a divorce. She moves on with her life, and like they end up reconnecting later on in the episode, but it's like a totally different thing. But at any rate, it has nothing to do with the main storyline.
Hmm. Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of thrown off. I was like, what is this? Like, how
Yeah.
is it gonna connect? I thought it was the main dude, Ian. I thought it was Ian's parents, and then like it didn't turn out to be. And I was like, okay, all right, I don't understand what I'm watching right now. But okay, it was good.
Yeah.
It's a good episode, but I don't understand what I'm watching. It's like a
Yeah.
Black
Yeah.
Mirror episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now that you say that, it is kind of sort of like that. There was one episode also they went to a black-owned comic book shop, or and they had some regulars come in, they had some randoms come in or whatever. But it was, to me, what I got out of that episode was that support small businesses.
Mhm.
And it was a good episode, even if it was not just a black owned, comic book store. It was just a good episode about just supporting local businesses.
I don't know where to go from there, but I hear
Nah,
you.
hey, I was just letting you know which one of the episodes about. Like I said, they all a little bit different and don't seem like they connect to each other.
Yeah.
Um, that's all I have on TV shows. You got any other TV shows or anything that you've been watching?
TV shows? Nah, I think I finished Shorzy. I don't remember if we talked about it on the last podcast.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. Except I think I watched the first episode.
Yeah, so finish that solid. I mean, it's just as good as the rest
Yeah,
of them. So
it's not redundant.
no, because they're growing, and it has an arc. The whole season has a good arc of like where he's going and where's the team going. So I thought it was good. The only thing, there's no saying with Ned. He's off doing something else, and they just never like he never shows up
They,
through the
they
whole
never say
season.
anything about it. The coach
They
is gone and he's
y- they mention it. It's the off season,
oh,
anyway. But they mention him, but he never shows up. I think they say I can't remember what they said he was off doing, but they do say it. But they say it in the very beginning, and then you just kind of forget about it.
okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's all the TV shows that I got. I mean, we can move right into movies then. So there's a lot of movies that have came out since the last episode, and I did go see one. I haven't seen Sinners yet. Still waiting on my wife. I think I'm gonna have to go see it without her. I think I might be the only one who hasn't seen it. But
Yeah.
the movie that I did go see by myself, actually, I took my daughter. Uh, I did go see Thunderbolts.
See, I hadn't seen it. Probably this weekend. I'll probably get to it. But yeah, I hadn't seen it yet.
It was a solid movie. It wasn't bad. Let me say that. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was just a solid movie.
So this ain't the Marvel spec movie that they trying to make it out to be.
And now, the media, they'll try to hype up anything to make it
Yeah,
be like, saying the best movie ever. And
yeah.
it's mid. But
Now,
it was a solid movie though.
did you see Thunderbolts or did you see uh the new Avengers?
I saw both. So I actually saw both of them. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I would know what we're talking about here.
Well, it's been a marketing campaign. If you're on social media at all,
Right.
I think they released it way too early as far as
Oh, absolutely. Well,
a
you can't hold
campaign.
it. People are just spoilers nowadays. You know, you can't
Yeah,
hold the news anymore.
yeah. But yeah, so I hadn't seen the movie. I know that little tidbit. That's about all I know because I hadn't went looking for spoilers or anything.
hmm But I will say, out of the movie, the only thing that confused me a little bit, or I don't know much more about, is Bucky's role. Because in Captain America, not Captain Winter Soldier, but in the new Captain America, Bucky was a congressman.
Right.
He's still a congressman in Thunderbolts. I'm trying to figure out what the timeline is. He's still a congressman in this one, and I think this was after Thunderbolt. I mean, Captain America. But now he's an Avenger. So did he just stop being a congressman? I don't know. It didn't say.
Huh. I don't know. I guess I
I
gotta
mean,
watch the movie to see
yeah, I
if
mean,
I
he's
can
still
pick
a
up on
congressman in
something
the
that you
movie, but by
missed.
the end of the movie is my question, though. By the end of
Right.
the movie,
Yeah. Well, maybe he just stepped down.
yeah,
Maybe he's doing
I,
both. He's pulling double duty.
yeah. I mean, some people can do that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Black Panther was doing it, right?
I mean, he was a king. Yeah, he was a
hmm
king and a hero. So
Yep.
yeah, protector or whatever have you. Yeah, nah. I look forward to looking at it. I've heard good things, so it's just a matter of time when I go see it, whether it be in the theater or not in the theater. I will see it.
All right. Anything you seen outside of after Sinners? 'Cause I know you was talking about Sinners last week, or
Yeah, nah,
that's
nah. I hadn't been to the movies in the past 2 weeks. Sinners was the last thing I saw. Um, I don't even Wolves. I watched that on Apple, and that I think that's been probably about it for movies for me.
that was a 2024 movie. I'm talking about 2025.
I know what you're talking about, but I just ain't been out. So you got Final Destination, a new Final Destination coming out. My family's big on that, so we'll probably check that out as well.
I saw a trailer for a new Aliens movie
TV
or
show.
TV show, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But then I saw another one for a Predators TV show.
So Predators has a movie coming out, Badlands, and then they
Oh,
also
that's
have
yeah.
they got like kind of like a CGI cartoon hybrid. I don't know the name of this one, but it's another type of show. It's gonna be a show, like an animated series that they're coming out with as well. So Predators has got two projects coming out, and Aliens got one project coming out. I'm sure before long we'll see another crossover.
hmm I'm
But
sure that's what they're building to. They're trying to build their own universe.
mhm,
Again, talking to your son earlier about when franchises should just die. I think this is
mhm.
one of them.
You think the Predator should die?
The franchise.
I don't think so. I don't think so because
Tell me
the
when the last good Predator movie was.
Prey, the last one that came out on Hulu, should have been a theatrical release, 100%.
Exactly. It wasn't a movie though. I mean, it was
It
a
was
movie.
a
I'm sorry.
movie.
You're right. You're right. It was a movie. But what I was saying, it was a theatrical movie.
It had all the makings of it. Why they released it on streaming, I guess it did get caught up in the Disney buying Fox merger. So maybe Disney didn't have high hopes for it as Fox did. Fox might have
hmm
been ready to release it. And plus, it was a time where they were trying to get more people to streaming because this is still that kind of COVID, post-COVID era that it got released in. But I thought it was an amazing movie. And if they do more like that, matter of fact, the same directors directing the Badlands. So I have high hopes for it because he did well on the first one. Hopefully, he does well on the second one.
I saw a talking about movies again. I'm just going back to people putting butts in seats in the movie theater. I saw something from an announcement from AMC saying that they're slashing prices, uh, 50% off of their tickets. Um, so that way they can get people back into the movie theater over the summer. But it's during
So,
the week.
okay, during the week, I was going to ask, is it a certain day? Because I heard something about Or matter of fact, I think Regal sent me an email about Tuesdays being like super cheap. They
Hmm.
need, I'm gonna be honest, and I love the theater. I love filmmaking. I love the whole process. The prices are ridiculous. And
Bruh.
with gas and food prices going up and housing and everything's going up. So at what point, and then you have all these streaming services that you're paying for. Something has to give at some point. And a lot of times, unfortunately, it's going to be that entertainment piece of going to the actual movies because one, you have to buy tickets. And if you're going by yourself, you're spending maybe $20 a ticket. But if you're going with multiple people, we're already at like $60 for three, right? Then on top of that, there's concessions, and their concessions are through the roof, have been always. So, you know, you that's a whole that's an amusement park now. You
It
know what I
is an
mean?
amusement park. It definitely is an amusement park. What I'm looking down now at is I was going to tell you how much we paid. And I told you it was me and my daughter, who is a
Hmm.
minor. She is 9 years old. And we went to go see the Thunderbolts during the afternoon. Tickets, $40 and some change.
Hmm.
It was a Regal theater, and we picked our own seat. Maybe that's the reason why it's costing so much because we are paying for seats. Maybe we need to go back to where we anybody can go sit down on the
Just
flat
show up.
level.
Yeah,
Yeah, and just pick a seat, a random seat. But then concessions. All we had was one tub of popcorn and two drinks. $38.
yeah.
We just spent $78, and it was just me and my daughter to go
Hmm.
see movies. A movie. I told her at the end, I said, "Whoa, girl, you are an expensive date."
Yeah. Nah, yeah. It's not like it used to be back in the day. Or at least I don't think
No,
it is. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a
it's
while.
not. I remember. I'm gonna tell you, I remember going to the movies. That was $1.
Yeah, I mean, but those was also like where we have digital releases now, that was the dollar movie. You know what I mean? Like
No,
Minecraft.
no, we were
Yeah.
seeing brand new,
Like
newly
Minecraft right
released.
now just got released for digital release. Minecraft back in the old days for this time frame would have just moved into that dollar release, that dollar movie realm. It was always
Mhm.
something a little bit delayed.
But either way it goes, the prices of inflation for everything is skyrocketing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
As we were talking about movies again and the theater and everything like that, wasn't there something there wasn't there an executive order or something for banning movies made in overseas from coming to the United States?
Not banning. There's a tariff. So
Okay.
Trump's putting a tariff on movies made overseas because essentially Hollywood is about tax breaks. So even as I was watching Sinners, because there's an after credit scene. Not gonna tell you what it is, but there is an after credit scene. So I sat there for the
I already saw
entire
that.
movie.
I saw it.
Okay, whatever. I sat there and I'm watching as it's scrolling, and I'm so unlike everybody else that just gets on their phone, I'm looking at the credits and stuff like that. So then I see that it's made part of at least part of the movie was made in Canada. It says like I can't remember what part of Canada, British Columbia.
Hmm.
Because I remember thinking like, why British Columbia? This movie was supposed to take place in Mississippi. Like, what are they doing in British Columbia? But British Columbia probably gave a better tax break and offered some land that resembled Mississippi that they could take advantage of, as opposed to going to Mississippi, which may not have offered as good of a tax break, which is often the case. Which is one of the reasons why, like in Nashville, there's not too many movies being made in Nashville because we don't offer good tax
Tax
breaks.
breaks.
Hollywood
Well,
loves Nashville,
mhm.
but they'll rather go to
They've had some
Georgia.
movie or some TV shows come on that was in Nashville. Like that one
Yeah.
TV show called
Mhm.
Nashville was made in Nashville.
So when I was in school, so let's talk 2019, Nashville or Tennessee, the state of Tennessee only gave three tax breaks per calendar year. So if you weren't a part of that, then you weren't getting it. And at that time, Nashville, the show, TV show Nashville was already taking one of those. like it was
Hmm.
theirs. So now you have projects like Nicole Kidman because she lives here or she lives in Franklin, but she films here in Nashville and she takes like some of those tax breaks, right? So
Like her
otherwise,
personally takes tax breaks, or her
yeah,
like her company or something.
her company or whatever she's
Uh-huh.
filming because she'll rather film here than have to fly out to I guess LA or Georgia or whatever. Not to say she doesn't do that as well, but where she can, she will stay here locally. So yeah, it's the whole thing. Hopefully legislation will change at one point in Nashville, and Nashville will get hip to it, or Tennessee. I'm not gonna say Nashville because I'm sure Nashville will probably bend the knee pretty easily because it's a pretty progressive city.
Hmm.
But the state of Tennessee is not, and they probably don't want in their mind are probably like, if we start letting this happen, then we're just going to get more influx of the West Coast people, the Dallas, Texas people, and just the whatever you want to. I don't know what they're called. They're not hippies, but you know what I mean. Like just the more liberal uh, people that kind of like run Hollywood. I'm sure that's what they're
Right.
afraid of.
All right. All right. Um, what you got next?
Uh,
I was talking about movies and TV shows.
uh, well, I mean, we can move on to news, I guess. I had to something on video games, but our guest, I know he will probably have heavy opinions if he makes it on. So I'm gonna save it for a little bit later to see if he
Okay.
makes it. So as far as news and what's in the zeitgeist. Matter of fact, we were just talking about Nashville and Tennessee being kind of conservative. So right now, our mayor and our governor are kind of at odds with this whole ICE situation, right? So there's been raids in Nashville, certain parts of
Hmm.
Nashville that is
Hmm.
predominantly Hispanic neighborhoods, where they've been pulled over a little bit more aggressively. Since COVID, I hadn't seen a cop pull over anybody like at all. Like I don't see it unless they've
I
been
see
in an
it.
accident or something like that. Like I hardly ever see it. Metro, you see Metro pull people over.
Well, I'm sorry, not Nashville
Yeah,
Metro. I'm saying like where I stay at,
Murfreesboro,
the Murfreesboro
Rutherford
Police
County.
Department, Rutherford County. Yeah,
Yeah,
sheriffs. Yes.
yeah. So Metro has there. First of all, we're pretty depleted over here. Like there's not that many cops. Um, Not to where it should be for the amount of people that lives within the county.
Hmm.
Um, so at any rate, I hadn't seen it. And now in these predominantly Hispanic neighborhoods, they're getting pulled over for window tint. They're getting pulled over for improper turning signals. Um, these are legit, kind of legit traffic offenses that they have the right to pull people over. But normally, discretionary, they probably would let it pass. But right now, they're being more aggressive in stopping them to see whether or not they're illegal citizens. I don't want to say aliens because that sounds weird.
No, I hear what you're saying, and also to the point to where I have seen also Representative Justin Jones actually be out in the middle of the night and was recording a stop that was being done. And all he was doing was, just recording with his phone what was going on and was asking the officer or the ICE officers, what was their purpose of being there. If it was an official traffic stop, how did they come in contact with the ICE? You know,
Right.
and they were talking about how now some ICE patrols with Metro. And when did that start happening? Probably when we started, cracking down on illegals in this entire nation. But
Hmm.
has it always been happening? No. Is there
No,
a political agenda to round up as many people as they probably can? Probably so.
no, probably so. So, I mean, I guess what are your thoughts on it? Like, do you feel
I
like this is something that should be happening, shouldn't be
No,
happening?
absolutely not. I do not think this
Hmm.
should be happening at all.
Hmm.
Um, I think that they're mixing and blurring the lines between illegals and those who are here legally trying to actually go through the system legally. They're blurring the lines and just rounding up anybody because they are I guess you can call it mandated, in my opinion, to do what they feel is deemed in their power to do, regardless if it's right or wrong. I do not agree with it at all right now. No, absolutely not. I mean, what's
Ever
the difference if the president signed an executive order for them to start doing stop and frisk again?
that's what I was just finna say. It's like this is pretty much stop and frisk like it was
Hmm.
back in the 90s or whenever it was happening, which is, so we have this we have a percentage of people that may be under criminal mischief of some type, drug dealers, robbery, B&E, all that type of stuff, right? But it's a small percentage, but we're going to stop a whole community because we don't know who to look for,
Or
right?
yeah, because
So,
I got probable cause. Like I see a
yeah,
group of five people standing together, having a good time and just talking, but now because they're standing together, I'm finna go search each one of them because
yeah,
statistics say one of them got to be selling drugs or got something on them.
yeah, right. Yeah, which is crazy. It's crazy to live that way, and what do they call it? It's a prejudice, right, against a group of people to start
Hmm.
acting in such a way. So now what we're teaching people is like when you see Hispanics, they're not legally here, right? Like there's some one of them got to be illegal.
Right.
When realistically, that may not be the case. I heard that our soccer club has suffered. Like the games, the attendance has gone down because
Mm.
the Hispanic community don't want to travel to and from the soccer club out of fear that they're going to get stopped and
Really?
deported.
I haven't heard that
Yeah.
one.
It's on the news. It's on the news.
So the
So,
Nashville Soccer Club is the attendance is going down. So they're losing money basically. They built this
mhm.
brand new stadium, one of the largest in the nation, and they can't fill the stands.
Not right now. Yep. So some of those diehard fans that were there are no longer there because of this. And then at what point does it stop? Is there a certain percentage that they're looking for to get out of the country? Or like what's the end game? My question is always what's the end game, right? Like what's your end result? Because I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's the same with anything. Which are we trying to just pad the prison systems so we can have more workers and more people so they can get fairly funded and get more money and more, you know what I mean? Like because the prison
Hmm.
system is definitely a business and those that have them, especially the privateers, they get paid very well off people committing crimes and getting sent to prison, just and unjust. They don't
That's
care.
right. That's
None
right.
of it makes any difference to them. So, is there something like that going on with our Hispanic brothers right now? And not just them, because it's not just their population, right? We're seeing Somalians, we're seeing uh just people from all over the world. They're kind of in the same situation. Like if they are not American, or if they don't speak a certain type of way, if they speak a different language or have a certain accent, then they're in jeopardy of being questioned, to say the least, about their citizenship, whether they're a citizen or not.
So I'm just looking at something in regards to the topic in which we're talking about. This was a couple of days ago. Uh, this was on actually on the 11th, and it was talking about it's from the Tennessean, and it was just talking about how the Tennessee Highway Patrol and ICE agents have been working in tandem together, and that since um, May 7th, so on May 7th, the crackdown of traffic sweeps or an immigration or the Latino neighborhoods has resulted in more than 360 traffic stops and nearly 100 people detained by ICE.
Yeah, that's crazy. What are we
Crazy.
doing now?
I do wonder, I would like to actually have a
Mhm.
conversation with any, law enforcement agent or ICE member who believes what they're doing is 100% correct and somebody who believes that they're taking it too far.
I think
To hear
there,
both sides of the
yeah,
story.
yeah. I think there is a line and there's a devil's advocate to be played as well, where uh there are a lot of people, or there are people, I'm not gonna say a lot because I don't know the numbers. There are people in this country that are not paying taxes, that are, getting into hit and runs, that don't have insurance, don't have a driver's license, like that are causing more of a financial strain on those that are here as citizens, or at least going about getting their citizenship, right? So there is a case out there to be made that like something do have to give. You know what I mean? Like we can't just keep allowing the borders to be open and people just come over here and just, make income under the table and then either send it back to their country or live here very nicely. You know what I mean? And not contribute to the society in which they're making their money. Right.
Mhm.
So I could see that where some people lean that way, but there has to be a balance. And you can't, how do you fix a problem that's been a problem for so long? Right. So we can say, all right, close the borders and nobody gets in unless they have their paperwork in order. You know what I mean? Like stop them at the border. Because I think America could kind of get behind that, right? Like if people are jumping over the fence, stop them, turn them around, put them back over the fence. That sounds halfway decent. But when you say, okay, but what about the ones that's already over the fence, have been here for, 5, 10,
Years,
15
decades.
years, 20 years? I heard this uh, one person on the news, she said that I think her fiance just got deported, or he got round up in this whole ICE Nashville situation. And she said she feared because she's been in this country since she was like two, but she's not a citizen. Like she's never, like she came in, her parents brought her in illegally, and she's not a citizen. I don't know what the process is to be a citizen. I still haven't looked it up to really kind of like get a wealth of knowledge on that end, but I've always heard it's not easy. So
Mhm.
what do you do with somebody like that? That this is all she's known, and it
Her
wasn't her
entire
choice to come
life.
here in the first place. But now you're gonna put her to a country that'd be like, hey,
But I mean, you do got to take some. I understand what you're saying, but in that case, you do have to take some uh personal accountability on that in
and that's
regards to
that
even
devil's advocate part, right?
yeah.
So like you can kind
Now
of
she's been
see
here.
where some of
She's
the service
now she
conservatives,
could
like
have been.
you're an adult, you could have tried to do the,
Now
proper
she doesn't have
paperwork.
a passport, or not a passport. If she doesn't have a U.S. birth certificate, or can prove that she's lived here her entire life, and she hasn't had any situation that where she needed to provide proof of that to
Mm.
get any legal documents from the United States, like a passport, then maybe she doesn't have a passport either. But this it has to be some level of accountability uh, in order for like if I'm been here since I was two and I'm now 40 years old and I've never been in a situation to where I thought to myself, hey, maybe I should go get my visa, or maybe I should go apply for American citizenship. You lived your entire life doing what then?
Yeah, right. And this is an extreme case, and I don't, because the way it sounded in the news is that she was in the vehicle when uh her fiance got stopped. So clearly she provided something that he could not, right? So
Mm.
whether it was a work visa or like maybe, hey, here's my high school diploma, like I don't know what they're allowed to show to stay, but she stayed, he didn't. So like clearly something had to happen there. So it has to be, maybe she's in the process of getting her citizenship and it just hadn't been put through yet. I don't know.
Or it could have been the fact of where they could have been just biased in the entire situation and they're just rounding up men
Hmm.
in that situation and didn't even think about looking at her.
Right. Possible. Possible. Or
Possible.
maybe she has a driver's license, because I do know Nashville, well, for a while, right? When I was getting my license, so just years ago, in the 1900s, as they say, uh, when I was getting my license, I think Nashville was one of the cities that didn't allow, or that didn't need or require a whole lot of proof in order to give somebody a license. right? Which I think now is why they're trying to rectify this with this star. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, because they're like, man, I think we messed up. Like, we've been allowing people just to flood in and just we've been giving them credentials. And I don't know. I don't know if
Well,
they
back th-
deserve them
well,
or
well,
not.
back then, Nashville wasn't as big as it is now, and they was like, okay, well, maybe this will plateau off, and Nashville's got nothing but bigger in size. And who would have thought? If you look back on some of these old not old IG stories, but some people have Instagram pages, or you Google what old Nashville used to look like. You're like, it didn't look like what it does today. And
Hmm.
nobody from back then in that time would ever thought that it would be what it is today. Not even the country music people that was here during that time when the Grand Ole Opry was, an actual a TV show. And
Hmm.
then you had Dukes of Hazzard and all of these, what I'm saying, these country heavily filled like Nashville was popping back then. It's still popping now, but nobody back then would have thought that Nashville would be as big and as diverse as it is right now. They probably
Right.
wanted it to stay, and they still trying to keep Nashville very, very country, I would say. And Nashville is far from being just country.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I know we beat that kind of like with a dead horse, but my stance is I don't agree with it. I'm curious on the conversations that I just told you that I would like to have with both sides of law enforcement to see what their stance is, because at some point we do all have a moral compass. Some people don't, and the ones that don't have it, they're borderline something anyway, in my opinion. You can't just live life and not have empathy, I would say, for your fellow human.
But can your convictions override your empathy? Because I mean, we see that in church, right?
Mm,
Like where people convictions override their empathy for other people. We see that in wars,
mm,
especially when it's a religious war, like, Muslims versus Christians or the Christian crusade. They were massacring people and all in the name of the love of Jesus, but their
mm.
conviction overrid the empathy. So, like, it could be one of those situations for those officers as well, where they're like, nope, my convictions say do it the right way. So you got to go and you got to do it the right way.
This is true. This is very, very true. Um, pivoting, staying on some political stuff here. I heard in the news now that we have a new pope that has been named. There was
Hey,
a
real quick, you said Pope, which is Catholic, right? Catholics do.
mhm.
Ain't that upside down?
Wait.
I always
I
thought
wasn't
that
paying no. I wasn't paying attention to what
when
you're
they do
doing.
the whole, it's an upside
Well,
down
not
cross, right?
only because from your forehead down to your chest is
Yeah,
long, and then
nobody
from heart
does
chest to
this.
chest. Now that you said it, it does look like it's upside down.
They've
You,
been doing it upside down this whole time. I'm just saying, like they should start here, and then like maybe cheek to cheek or something. I don't know.
are you talking about like just a symmetrical type,
I don't
face?
know what they need to do, but they symbol is messed up. They all been
Mm,
doing an upside down cross, which to me has always been supposedly satanic. Not saying that the religion's satanic. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm saying branding. Change your branding.
okay. Anywho, going to so we have a new pope, and I don't know how long ago this new legislation has been pushed in Washington State. That's what I looked it up. I heard on the news that they were trying, or they did, was considering legislation to consider priests to actually report child abuse or neglect once they hear information during a confession. So that my understanding now is that the Catholic Church is now up in arms and is telling all of their priests to not listen to the law that potentially is passed. I don't know if it's passed or not, but I was trying to look it up. Is passed or will be passed or trying to be passed.
Mhm.
Because they, as a priest, they're taking an oath of secrecy and things like that, and they, that is very highly regarded in their religion, I would say. So
Yeah,
if
it's
you
sacred.
it is. So if I have a person, say you come to my confessional and you tell me, hey, My son is being bad, and I actually beat him to the point to where I broke his leg. I didn't mean to do it, and then 2 weeks later, I did it again, and now I broke his arm. Now, should I hold that information to me myself, or should I tell somebody, DCS or somebody, to that I've heard anonymously that something was going on and you may want to do a welfare check?
Ain't no right answer.
Mm,
I mean, again, here we talk about conviction versus empathy, right? So like the empathy in a person should want to report that person. Like, hey man, this ain't right. You ain't doing things the right way. Um, but where's the line? So right now we're just talking about child endangerment of some
hmm
sort. But what about when it becomes, robberies? Because if you're a practicing Catholic, you are supposed to confess your sins to a priest, right? At least once a week or something like that. I don't know what the frequency is, but whenever you do it, you're supposed to list all your sins. So where's the line of what that priest can tell or not tell the officers or somebody, as well as I don't know. It's a pickle situation. Where's your conviction, where it's supposed to be a sacred situation, versus your empathy, where you do want to get involved and tell somebody? Or what if somebody comes to you and say that they want to do self harm?
hmm
You know what I mean? Like, are you supposed to then immediately call an ambulance so you can take them to a hospital and get them locked up for a psych eval? Where are you taking it to?
So, uh, so I just really quickly ChatGPT'd it about how many times they're supposed to confess. So again, this is AI. Some human inputted some information, and AI searched the internet and grabbed this information. This is not me speaking. I have no idea. I'm not Catholic, so I'm just reiterating what I am just reading. And it says that at least once a year, if conscious or moral sin, it is strongly recommended more frequently, monthly, bi-weekly, or weekly, for spiritual growth and forgiveness of sins. So it varies. I guess it depends on how bad the offense.
Or what your relationship, I guess what your relationship is.
Mm,
Because my understanding, like, in the same boat, I'm not Catholic. I don't know. I was just making fun of the symbol that they do. So clearly I'm like, like I have no real foot in this game. But it's my understanding that if you do not confess that sin, it's no different than as Christians. If we don't confess our sins to Jesus, who is our direct line, we don't have a middleman, right? We don't have to go to a priest. We can just go straight directly to him. But if we don't confess those sins, then those sins, if we die, may like we might have to atone for that, essentially.
hmm
So
Be
I'm
held against
one,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So if they hadn't gone for a year, and within that year, they're like, "Yep, I go every New Year's," you know what I mean? It's Christmas, and bow, something happens. Like
hmm
all that other stuff, like I don't know.
Over the
I don't.
year.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know how. I
Yeah.
don't know how it works.
Don't know.
I don't know.
Don't know.
I talk directly to God, so I don't know.
I do too. On a daily basis.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, Another thing that was in the news, and this is in Nashville again, well, not Nashville, I'm sorry, it's in Tennessee, is the um concerns that we had around the death of Tyree Nichols. If you don't know, this gentleman was actually brutalized by police individuals. It's all on video. It's all on the internet if you want to go take a look at it. But the verdicts of those three individuals had came out, and they were all not guilty.
Right.
So I wanted to see what you thought about that.
I just did that. Uh, so it's my understanding, and I hadn't looked into the case much, but it's my understanding that these officers were uh support officers, and I could be wrong, so please correct me if I am. That they arrived on scene after he was already uh after the beating had already kind of happened, and he's like, again, if you watch the video, it's a point where they sit him up against a car and have to keep sitting him up essentially because he can't sit under his own power anymore. So there's a part where they beat him. There's a part where follow-on officers show up and they don't render aid. They wait until ambulance gets there, which is a very slow process. So it's my understanding that these are the officers that arrived and didn't render aid. Is that, do you know if that's correct or not?
I cannot say that or
Because
deny
it's
that.
it's it's my again my understanding that the original officers that were actually took place in the beating were convicted. Because I think we already dealt with that part.
So I am actually taking a look at that to make sure. Maybe I should have looked all this up before we actually started talking about it. But I, so there were five members of the police department, Scorpion Unit, in which they were called, um, and the ones that were found not guilty was Justice Smith, Demetrius Haley, and Tadarius Bean, I believe. And so out of those five that I just mentioned that were there, those three were part of the five,
So three were found not
not
guilty.
guilty. Yes.
Two were found guilty, or we haven't reached that part yet.
They, those two, Emmett Martin and Desmond Mills Jr., both pled guilty to federal charges of using excessive force. And they testified against their colleagues in a federal trial, but it does not say what the outcome of that of
Can you
their.
see how many people total were found guilty in the case in the wrongful death of Tyreek Nichols?
You just want to know how many people were guilty?
Yeah, how many people were
Two,
found guilty? So just two.
two, two.
Okay. So what I said don't really sound like it stands because there's clearly more than two people on the videotape attacking this young man.
Yeah.
So yes, yeah, it's not. It's not all right. I remember
And
watching the videotape.
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to
No,
cut you off.
I remember watching it because we were on alert to support, possibly support Memphis, thinking that it was going to be pure chaos once the
Hmm.
video came out because we had knowledge that like, hey, this thing happened. They're going to release it today. And be ready to like get in your vehicles, drive down to Memphis and help us because the city might erupt, right?
Hmm.
I remember sitting there in my unit with people and we're all like watching it on our phones as it got released. Like it was kind of sick, really to think about it because we're sitting around and everybody's pulling it up all at the same time. Like the moment it gets released, like it's a mixtape or something. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like
Hmm.
it was real weird. It was a real strange situation. But I remember it's like, ain't no way. Like these dudes are guilty. You know what I mean? Like and my unit, because of what it is that we do, we have a lot of civilian law enforcement in my unit. And everybody's like, yeah, nah, that's excessive force. Like, hands down, like, I don't think one person said, like, we all thought, like, oh, the city's going to erupt, and rightfully so, right? Like, we all thought that, like, Memphis is about to go crazy because this is clear abuse of power.
Hmm.
And then it didn't erupt really all that bad. And I don't know if the color of the officers had anything to do with it. But I never questioned whether those dudes were guilty or not. Now there again, like I said in watching the video, there are some supporting actors around the situation. Like there's I think one of the body cam footage that they initially released was of a white officer um at the initial stop, and he really didn't do anything. but
Hmm.
he really didn't help him neither.
Stop it.
You know what
Yeah,
I
he
mean?
didn't
Yeah,
stop.
yeah, yeah. So like for him to be sentenced, do some jail time or something, I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about that. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like he
Mhm.
really deserved to, but like at the same time, he ain't helped neither. Like he could have spoke up. So
So what I also heard was that on the jury, of course, there's 12. The majority makeup of that jury were all white people, and I think they had two non-white members, one black, one Asian ethnicity. I don't know what obviously they came into a decision, whether it was majority or unanimous, to have those three individuals not be found guilty. My thing also would cross my mind, and it's only because we live in this doggone world. What crossed my mind was that because this jury was made up of all white people, were they intentionally, again, I wasn't behind, I'm not a jury, I don't know what they talked about. Did they intentionally let these three people go because in their mind they see one less person on the street?
I don't know. I can't answer that. But
Yeah,
how do
I
you
know,
get it?
but
I
I'll
will
just let you
say,
know that's
yeah,
what crossed my mind.
I will say, how do you get a jury that's mostly made up of like you're in Memphis? I mean, let's keep it real. Like Memphis is a predominantly black city. I would think, unless I just unless every time I go to Memphis, that's all I go to is the predominantly black area. It's like I don't know. I thought Flint was all black. Now I realize that like Flint is just segregated.
Mhm.
Who knew? But at any rate, I don't understand how you can have a
So
jury
Memphis
in
is
Memphis.
62, 64% African American,
Yeah.
20 around 25% white.
So how's the jury makeup? Because it's supposed to be a makeup of the peers, makeup of the
Oh,
people. So
supposed to be.
it should have been flipped, hands down. But if you're doing jury selection, you're going to go and try to select those that are more favorable to your case.
Not supposed to.
That's
Not
what they
supposed to.
do. That's what they do, hands down. We
It's
know
it's
this.
it's supposed to be a fair trial and with no bias in your whenever they interview you. You're not supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? And of course, people can cheat the system, of course.
Mm,
I could be a racist at heart, and I can go in front of the judge, and when they ask me or interview me to be on this case, I was like, nah, I love people, I love all my people, and then I go in there and behind closed doors after I hear all this evidence, I then try to convince everybody else, the other 11, nah, this needs to go down. Nah, this is the reason why, because there's ways
100%.
to cheat it.
100%. But also, so this is a case that involves officers, right? So if we're doing jury selection and I'm going to a predominantly black city, and we know how black people predominantly feel about police officers, right? You disqualify a vast majority of those that show up for jury duty because tell me how
That's
you
a
feel about the
predetermined
police.
bias.
No, 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 no. Tell me how you feel about the police. I don't really trust the police. All right, next. I move to exclude this juror. Next person comes. Like, and we're so honest because like we have this chip on our shoulder, like, I mean, ain't nobody gonna do nothing to me. Not next, you're out. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where like they could have done themselves harm because there's a distrust in the community of the police officers, and that's automatically going to skew the jury one way. So you have to, so any smart uh lawyer and judge would immediately dismiss those people. But it probably had a negative effect on the outcome.
Yeah, yeah. So well, that's all I wanted to say about that was that again, this is news. It happened, within the last week. This information coming out, and I found it disheartening myself as a black man to see some black men get off who I can clearly see did something wrong.
Right.
Again,
And
I wasn't there when it first happened. All I saw was the video of when they push play, or record. So something could have happened before then. Tyree could have did or said something to all of them when some evidence. I wasn't in the courtroom. There might have been some stuff that he did before one, but nothing warrants
no,
killing someone.
nah. not the way that, and it's not a heat in the moments type situation. So in watching the video, my unbiased opinion is that people or some of the officers, they had to chase them. First of all, they came off way too aggressive from the start, right? So they escalated the situation where it probably didn't need to be escalated. Then he took off. Again, we distrust the police. He probably feared for his life, so he took off. Because I don't think he had anything on him. I don't think he had done anything wrong. It was a minor traffic infraction that they pulled him over for in the first place, right? So now you have officers having to chase somebody. Your adrenaline's pumping, heightened sense, tunnel vision. So I think because they had to run, they came overly aggressive when they finally caught him, right? Again, don't warrant anything. I'm not trying to justify any of anything that they did. I'm just simply saying uh, that when I watched it, they clearly overstepped, and
Hmm.
I, and it's even parts in the tape that will clearly say, or where they like start tampering with their body cam. I think one of them cut it off or put it down. Another one you can see like covering it at times. Like you know what you're doing. You had clear thought process of what it is that you were doing. You knew it was wrong because you didn't want to capture it on video. So I don't understand how we ended up in this result where three, the only three that went to trial from what it sounds like are innocent, and the two that just stepped up to the plate was like, you know what, I was wrong.
Hmm.
Right. Maybe because they thought they were going to be found guilty and they decided to try to do a lesser deal. They're probably kicking themselves right now because they were like,
Absolutely.
dog, I should just play it out with the other dudes, or not play it
Right.
out, but like took my chances at trial. It's a terrible situation, man. Everybody involved, life has changed forever. But definitely there's a loss of life which didn't need to happen, senseless. Like, I mean, just be aware of what is happening around you. And like I don't know how to I don't know. That
I don't
empathy,
know.
right?
I think
Where's your empathy?
like you mentioned earlier also about the how we have a distrust for the law enforcement just because of things we've heard, things we went through. Um, not only this story, but I heard the other day also about a woman who got pulled over, and she there was a simple traffic stop again, a simple traffic stop, and they were telling her to some simple commands. Was your can you give me your ID and your insurance? And she didn't want to give anything, and then she started asking for their supervisor to come because she feels like she didn't do anything. But I think that she got pulled over. Like I say, simple. This was a traffic violation. She was speeding, and she in a like a 35, 50, residential area. She was speeding, regardless. She was just speeding. Clearly, she was speeding, but she didn't want to adhere to any of the commands that were being given to her. Eventually, you can hear the officer telling her multiple times, if you don't do comply, I'm going to put you on the arrest. Are you sure? Are you sure? He kept asking her, are you sure? She wasn't complying. She was staying in the car. They was trying to get her out. He said, I will break your window. I'm letting you know I'm finna do this. She's recording inside the car. He has his body cam footage. And this is the video that's being shown. It's his body cam footage. He breaks the window, and now all of a sudden she breaks out. Oh my God, they trying to kill me. Woman, you this could have all been de-escalated had you just complied to some of their simple commands. Simple stuff. And then they eventually arrest her, and then she starts crying at the office at the jail or whatever about I can't believe what's happening to me. I know my rights, and clearly she didn't know her rights, or she would
Hmm.
have done with some of the things. And I think what I was getting at was that we and as a people say that we know our rights, and we really don't know our rights. There's a small population, I would say, that actually do know the law and know our rights, but we do need to educate ourselves to instead of just saying it and start watching all of these TV shows and law shows and think that they know a little bit of knowledge and think that they know everything that's supposed to be done. And these people are getting in trouble. So stop acting like you know what you're talking about. Don't Google, ChatGPT, all of these things and try to recall all this information in the heat of the moment. Just comply.
It's you ever watch On Patrol Live?
No.
It's on I don't remember what channel it is, but at any rate, it comes on every weekend, right? It's a good show to watch. It's like Cops, but instead of cutting it up, they
Hmm.
just let it run. So you're with those officers for the whole night. It's different officers in different cities, but you're with them for the whole night. But it shows you how, like, a lot of times in these interactions, it's going to be a simple interaction until somebody escalates it. And then you can see
Hmm.
the officer go back to their car and they're like, man, give me all that. Look, man, I'm about to write like, I'm giving them every ticket I can, and then you have people inside the studio as well, like back in the studio, that are also law enforcement, and they'll commentate and kind of tell you like, yeah, like typically in this
I was like
situation, this is what
Showtime,
an
the movie
officer
Showtime
would do. Yeah, 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 yeah.
with Eddie Murphy.
And Robert De Niro,
Yeah.
Rene Russo, good movie. But yeah, I guess in a way it is kind of like Showtime, but they're not detectives. They're all like uniform wearing cops.
Yeah.
But it's a good. I think we do ourselves, not ourselves. We do it as a country. We do an injustice. When we were growing up, you had Dare in school, right? And
Hmm.
before Dare, you had Wally, which was also a police type thing that I remember. But Dare at the very least, but it was to keep kids off drugs. Well, how about you tell me how to interact with officers? You know what I
Or,
mean? Like
or
that
or
should be
Mad, Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
it should be
I
a
know
whole
that wasn't an officer,
program.
but it was
Yeah.
about it was around the same thing.
You should have a whole program. Like you out here teaching me about ancient Greece, which I love personally. But how does that help me in my everyday life when you could have been teaching me how to interact with a cop? Because I remember being young and getting pulled over for the first couple of times and being very upset by it and like feeling a certain way and having a chip on my shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, man, he just pulled me over because I'm black. May not have been the case. I remember I got pulled over, or no, me and my friends watched the movie at Hollywood 27, went back to the car. So I got a car full of people. And we're just sitting there. We're not smoking. We're not doing anything. We're just sitting there and we're actually discussing the movie, right? Officer comes, like, hey, ask me for my ID and stuff. The movie theater called us in for loitering. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? But like in the moment, I was like, I'm gonna be compliant because by this time I was a little bit older. I think I been joined the military by this point. Now, so I was compliant, and he was like, "Can I search the car?" It's like I have nothing to hide, so yeah, you can search the car. But it was because it was four or five people sitting in a car. We weren't seeing a movie, but at the same time, the officer never asked to see our tickets either. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you say you just got out? Let me see your ticket. He never asked that. So it was just like, but it was, I
You were
mean, nothing
loitering
ever,
though. You was
we were loitering. We were like, I can't argue with him. We were loitering. And then once we had that interaction, we left and it was cool. Like it was very cordial. Like we
Mhm.
didn't hype it up. So he didn't hype it up, right? Like he was just like, hey, like he's just doing his job. Somebody called him, so now he got to check it out, got to document it. Um, cool. You do your thing. Yep, we all got out. I don't even think he searched me personally. He just wanted to search the car to make sure it wasn't nothing hidden in the car. Whatever. I mean, it was a non-issue really, but I
Mhm.
could have took it somewhere that made it an issue and then ended up in cuffs because I took it
Mhm.
somewhere that it didn't need to go, right? Not to say we need to kiss the police, you know what I mean? We don't need to do that, but if they come to your window and the first thing you doing is yelling at them, how you think that situation going to end up? Whether you're in the
What
right
if
or
it's
wrong.
what about the other way around? Sometimes they can, well, we've seen, or I've seen or heard stories of their being the first aggressor. So now because they're
Mm.
having a bad day and they are stopping you and they're inadvertently, subconsciously maybe taking stuff out on you that you had absolutely nothing to do with. So they escalate and now you escalate too. And because you came up to where they were, now they go way above.
It's very possible. I mean, I think in every situation, somebody has to have a cool head. That's in any argument you have in your life. Somebody, look, you can both keep escalating and you can see how that turn out, or one of you can de-escalate and see how that turn out. I promise you, if somebody de-escalates, whether it's you or them, it's going to be a better situation, right? Than
Hmm.
if two people are just mutually escalating the situation. So even if a cop comes at you, because I see it's on Patrol Live. I sit there and watch that, and sometimes the officer, like I'm like, man, he was way too aggressive when he first, you know, walked up to him, and eventually they do calm. Like you can see it where they'll go to their car, and then by the time they come back, it's more of an educational thing. But they was originally hyped up because they saw something that uh irritated them or got under their skin. Like maybe they were speeding too fast in a residential area. Man, there's kids out
Hmm.
here. You gonna kill somebody. You came at them aggressive, so now of course they're thrown off. But like it's somewhat valid to why they're aggressive. You're just not thinking about it in
Hmm.
that situation. Nor are they thinking about the fact that like, man, if I would have approached him differently, maybe he could have received it differently, right? So the message can be the same, but how you present the message can totally change the outcome.
I agree. I agree. Um, I guess it's just me and you on this episode, brother. I don't think that we're gonna get that guest that we thought we was gonna have.
Nah, don't look like it.
Yeah. So we talked about those two different things. What do you so one more thing political and that I wanted to talk about, and we was going back to the raids that's happening all over. And this was the story of the New Jersey mayor. I can't think of his name, who was arrested here recently doing I guess you could say a welfare check. I guess you could say, in New Jersey, they're doing raids just like they're doing here in Nashville. They putting all their people in a facility, um, and it's overpopulated now. So he went to go check it out, from my understanding, and then he ended up getting arrested.
Why?
This ex- interfering, I guess, interfering in the ice. I can't think of the name of the word I'm trying to say. It's not raid, but it's not raid. It's not investigation. I just can't think of the word I'm looking for right now. But I wanted to bring that up too because I'm saying like we said it's happening here in Nashville. It's happening here in the state of Tennessee, and then I said something about New Jersey. I know it's happening in Georgia. It's happening up in the Midwest. Like the current climate within the current administration is heightening individuals or this country for what I don't think we should be heading in. Does that make sense?
Man, I think we've been this way for a minute though. Like we even in Biden's 4 years, I think we was here. It's just who's on top, right? Um, I think we're so divisive. And that's why originally when you first started talking about these race, ICE, and the situation, I said that we are having a issue with our governor and our mayor. And I didn't go into depth with that, but our governor
Mm-hmm.
is a Republican, our mayor is a Democrat. So
Mm-hmm.
they're at odds on how they see things instead of like working it out because Nashville, one, is the state capital. Two, it's probably the biggest city in, well, it's not probably, it is the biggest city in Tennessee. So you would think that this would be where the governor's forefront would be, right? He lives here. Like the capital's here. So like, but he's at odds with every governor that we have that's Democrat, So it's a very weird phenomenon that is happening because everybody's so polarized to their side and they're so convicted that they're right
Mm-hmm.
about
Mm-hmm.
what it is that
Mm-hmm.
they believe and
Mm-hmm.
they're standing what they standing on business. Like everybody's willing to die on that ledge. So that mayor in New Jersey, I don't know the situation. I don't know what
So
his
I'm
political.
sorry.
Okay,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. No,
So
go
so
ahead.
so he was charged on federal prosecutors for trespassing at the Delaney Hall Immigration Detention Center in Newark. So
Mhm.
it said that he and three of his uh,
AIDS.
congressional delegation,
Hmm.
yeah, were there to inspect the facility. And then, according to the interim U.S. Attorney General or U.S. Attorney, that he ignored warnings to leave the premises, which he denied. He probably wasn't even told to leave the premises. They were just probably just telling, well, maybe he was told to leave, and maybe he was like, "I'm the mayor," could have been. I don't know. I wasn't there. All I'm saying is that he was booked and released on the same day. The point is that I was just making is that when the mayor of a city is trying to control the situation in regards to these raids and things that are happening in his own city, and then he gets arrested on top of that because he's not understanding or he nobody is telling him what's going on in his own city. And then how can you arrest your own mayor?
So playing devil's advocate, right? Let's say the mayor did know before he went to that facility
Hmm.
that you come here. This is not part of your jurisdiction, right? Because ICE is a federal program. It's not done by a county. It's not done by a city. It's not even done by the state. ICE is federal. So you come here. We have commandeered this facility as federal property. It's now a federal building. You have no jurisdiction here. So you come check under whatever guidelines you want. We are warning you. And I have to believe that somebody had to warn him. You're not just gonna show up because you didn't just on a whim, like, hey man, we had this at the house. Hey, you know what? Hold on. Let's make a quick
Let's
stop.
circle. Yeah.
Yeah, let's make a quick stop over here real quick. I doubt that happened. So he knew full well. Now, whether he thought they were gonna go through with it, I don't know. But it's no different than sit-ins. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, back in the 60s, like, hey, I know I'm gonna get arrested. I'm going there to get arrested. But it makes a little bit of political noise. So he could have very well been like, I know I'm gonna get arrested, but I'm gonna go check on these people. I'm gonna let my delegates know that I'm a man of the people. I'm willing to get arrested
Mhm.
with you. You getting arrested, I'm getting arrested too. And it could be all just a political campaign so he can get elected again. I don't know what's in his heart. Or he could have very well be like, man, this is wrong, and I really want to stand on this. Either way, I have to believe that he knew full well
That
what
he
the
was going there
outcome could
to
have
get
been.
arrested.
Yeah, or at least
I
at the
think
very
that you
least, that it
actually
was
just
a
brought
good
a
possibility.
you brought up a point that I had no inkling on, in which what you just told me that because ICE is a federal government agency, that the building that they commandeered or was already theirs was a federal building, and therefore local government does not have any authority.
Mhm.
So even if he was there to see what was going on at the detention center or not, to make a political stand, as you just mentioned, whatever reason that he was there, I did not know that because it was a federal building, that even the mayor of his own city does not have jurisdiction in a building that's probably sitting in his city. You just taught me something new, so I didn't know about that. But it
Yeah.
makes sense of what you just said, though.
Yeah, Freddie O'Connell, who's mayor of Nashville,
Hmm.
can't go and tell Bill Lee what to do just because the state capitol or the capitol building is in
Hmm. It's
Nashville,
in
right?
Nashville. Hmm.
Yeah, he can't just go to the capitol and be like, "Hey man, get up out my seat. This is my city." He'd be like, "Man, if you don't get up out my building, like this
Right,
is mine. Like what are you talking
right.
about?" So yeah, nah, yeah, they know full well what their jurisdiction, what is in their capabilities and what's not in their capabilities,
But the
100%.
whole thing, I guess, because it made news is because he was a mayor. And, had it been just any random other person, a political activist or something like that, it probably wouldn't have
Mm.
made as much noise as it did because he's the actual mayor of the city of Newark.
Right, which was probably intentional in its own self because we're gonna bring some light to this, right? How can we bring light to this? You know what? The mayor can do it.
Hmm.
Okay, he's just down. Where other mayors
And
might just be like, "Nah, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not
right,
risking
right.
my career."
Correct, correct. And now he can say that, he just, if it was political and he did go down there on that stance, that knowing that he was going to get arrested, even if it was on twofold situation where he was going down to check on the people, one, wholeheartedly, because in his heart he believes that he was going
Hmm.
down there to check on those people, or two, hey, I got an election coming up, I need the votes, and these people in my city, which are maybe, just like in everywhere else in major cities across America, are being populated heavily by black and brown people, or Latinos. uh I need these votes. I don't know, but you made a good point, though.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes this people are smarter than I think we give them credit for a lot of times. Like, especially when you start talking about political realm, right? Like people don't
Mhm.
just half willy-nilly do things. Like they're doing stuff for a reason. They're pushing a agenda. Like it's something behind it. They have aides behind them. They have people, legalese, you know what I mean? Like lawyers that's feeding them this. Like they know. They're not, they don't do things on a whim. Like it would be very foolish for them to do it. Sidetrack. If you watch Daredevil, Born Again,
Mhm.
Wilson Fisk becomes the
Mhm.
mayor of New York,
Mhm.
right? New York City. And you see somewhat the process of where people are giving them legal advice and like, hey, the last mayor didn't do it like this, or hey, like legally you can't do this, or if you do this, it has this connotation. Like, and there's other shows. There's a whole lot of shows out there that does something similar. I'm just thinking Daredevil because it just recently came out, but there that's how it goes, right? Like nobody's making isolated decisions in a bubble. That's why I said he didn't just like on the way home be like, "Hey man, go over here." I already know that because he had people with him. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So as soon as he told those people what was gonna happen, one of them was like, "Oh, hey man, that don't belong to you." Which really a mayor, like most buildings don't belong to them. There's not really too many city buildings or county buildings. So yeah, like the mayor has no jurisdiction. I'm in the National Guard. The mayor has zero jurisdiction at our base. Zero. He has nothing to do with us. However, the governor, because we are a state, like we're partially state, partially federal, the governor does have jurisdiction. So the governor can tell us, hey, I want you to go here. And if he activates us, which he has the right to do, we got to go there, right? But
Mhm.
the mayor can't do nothing. So this
Mhm.
a city can flood. Worst case, let's say New Orleans. New Orleans floods back in back when it flooded, right? During Katrina. Whoever the mayor was at the time can't activate nothing. All they can do is, hey, we need help.
Mhm.
Like, we need help. And then they have to go to their governor and be like, hey, we need help. Can you activate the military to come help us? And then the
Mhm.
governor's like, yeah, I kind of like the city. I'll do it. Or they could be like, I don't like you. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like that's their choice. But then they have the political ramifications of what comes after that. Because I'm sure that mayor
Right.
would be like, I asked for
Right.
help and he ain't help me. You know,
Right.
forget George Bush don't care about black people. The mayor didn't. I mean, the the governor didn't
The
care about
governor.
black people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
So
All right, brother. So we went from TV shows to movies to political.
mhm.
We've been here for a minute. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest?
I mean, not necessarily get off my chest. I guess I think we'll be remiss if we didn't. I don't want to go in depth because I'm
Yes,
still
you do.
combing through a lot of stuff on it. But the Diddy case, it started. Uh, Cassie has been taking a stand. These first couple of days, essentially, it's just been her. I think open arguments and then her on the stand. So some of the things that's come out, I don't know if you're following it at all,
I
but
hear bits and pieces of it. Yeah.
it's essentially what you already kind of knew. I don't think nothing earth-shattering
Nothing. Yeah.
has
Nah.
come out
Not at
just
all.
yet.
Mm-mm.
She did say it was an absurd amount of baby oil during her first freak off, which is, first of all, the fact that they're labeling it freak off and this has become a coined term, I feel like it has to be a term, right? Like that had to be what everybody was already calling
Yeah.
it,
That's what he called it. He told
right? It
everybody
had
this is what it's called. This is not
so
freak neat. This is freak. This is the freak off.
yeah, so that's crazy. The fact that she brought up the baby oil is crazy, right? And she's been out of it since 18,
Mhm.
allegedly. Uh, so I don't know, man. It's crazy. I think it's only gonna get crazier. I'm very curious to see how many witnesses they bring forward and who they bring forward, and if there's somebody that we ain't thinking of, like a shocking revelation drops. You know what I mean? Like they go get Loon, and Loon testifies against Diddy. You know what I mean? Like.
or get shine
Yeah,
or
Shine.
or
Well,
mace.
Shine's already been talking about it. Mace is, he. I feel like Mace knows something. He talking about I left early. I left because I
Mhm.
knew what it was. Or some of these artists that didn't want to sign with Diddy or didn't want to do anything with him. So it'd be very interesting to see how this whole thing unfolds.
I think
and
I
how the
saw a law. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, and how the defense cross-examines Cassie and how they because right now she looks like she's a victim, blah blah blah. But of course, the defense is gonna try to do the exact opposite, and like, nope, you willingly participated in these
And some of these
events.
things that's what I heard. That some of
Yeah.
these things she willingly did. Like even I think there was a rape allegation. Like she said that while she's dating her current husband, that
Hmm.
they got together and he raped her. But
Right.
then a few
After
weeks or
that.
months or whatever
Hmm.
happened, she went back to him and had
Yep.
consensual sex.
Yep.
So, but again, this goes back into the mind of victims. I would say I haven't been a victim. I can only tell you what I've read and seen is that when they are in that environment for so long, it's hard to get out of that environment. Again, I don't know the ins and outs of that. I don't know. I don't understand the mindset of that, but I do know that it's real. It is real
Yeah.
because you
Hmm.
hear too many stories about that from way back in the, what I'm saying, the 60s and 70s. What do you think prostitutes are really pretty much? You think they're doing this stuff willingly to give somebody else money on?
I mean,
No.
even older than that, man. I mean, you take slavery, and I won't even talk about American slavery. Let's go to Egypt, right? The Jewish people outnumbered the Egyptians by far, but
Mhm.
yet they stayed enslaved. Why? Because there was a victim mentality. So then, same thing. I guess I'll go to American. Same thing. Like
Yeah, I thought you said you wouldn't. It's just
we
so easy to do it, huh?
yeah, it is. It is very easy on a plantation. On an average plantation, we outnumbered those slave owners and the overseers and things of that nature. But yet we stayed in place. Why? Because it was a victim mentality, right? Like it's more than just physical abuse. It's mental abuse that
Mm-hmm.
goes along with
Mm-hmm.
it as well.
It's
It's
definitely mental.
institutionalized as well. So, like, I think there's definitely like I don't know the dude, but it's very hard not to believe some of the stuff that you hear. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know him, but I feel like at some point when you get so much power that it just,
You feel invincible. I can't be
yeah,
touched.
yeah, yeah. And when you start in some of these, uh, I don't know what I'm trying to say. When you start down when you start doing certain things, right? You live a certain lifestyle, it only gets perpetuated and it probably gets worse and deeper and like because like what what got you off yesterday ain't gonna get you off 10 years from now if you do
Mhm.
it every day. You know what I mean? Like if this is all you do, like eventually you're gonna start warping that thing because it's like, well, I gotta find a new way to keep this pleasure going. So you're
Mhm.
gonna start doing some crazy stuff. The longer you do it, the crazier it gets.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, it's just funny that I think it's how somebody said, "Why you think Russell don't live here no more?"
Oh, I was just, man, come on, man. Russell was my childhood hero, 100%. You know, and then I read the man's, he got two or three books. I read two of them. Um, and if you read between the lines on some of them books, like, like I don't know if Russell should be here anyway. And the fact that he left and ain't came back, like he
I ain't
already
came
know what
back.
time it is.
No,
I I think people are watching this case, and I when I say people, I'm talking about victims,
celebrities. Okay.
celebrities, victims, uh, attorneys are watching this case to see what happens to him because if he gets convicted, I feel like the floodgates are gonna open, and you're gonna start seeing a whole lot of people in this same industry that is probably closely associated with him go down too. You know what I
Man, which is
mean?
why,
Like
man, this was a part of the whole Epstein thing, probably. I'm pretty sure they crossed paths once upon a time. Had to, they're elitist.
it's possible. It's 100%. I mean, it's all
I think
trafficking.
so.
It's all trafficking in some sort. Um,
So I thought I'd also on the case they were talking about how they are really focusing on the domestic violence of the situation. I don't know how when they're going to start actually talking about RICO and trafficking, but they haven't
mhm,
brought that up at all.
right.
I was thinking they was going to start talking about like, hey, I had of course, them two together flying all over the world is one thing, but are you finding these male escorts or whoever? Um, are you flying them to where you are? Or are you finding them in the city that you're in? That's where I see the trafficking part coming in. Because of course, if you're flying somebody else and you're flying her, who's technically my girlfriend, but I'm flying somebody else to a city to have sex with my girlfriend unwillingly, but it's pleasing me. Is that considered trafficking?
It is. I think
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
are, if you're flying her, like let's not even worry about the other people. If you're flying her across state lines and she's doing something which she's now coming forward and saying that it was unwilling or she didn't want to participate, but she feared for her life if she did not, or she feared for the fact that he was going to release certain information, so he was blackmailing her into doing these
Hmm.
things. That's 100% trafficking. That's no different than you like somebody you sponsoring somebody in, you take their passport, right? Because this is what the cartel does. Like you take their passport and then you own them and you won't give their passport back until they either make you a certain amount of money or whatever the case may be, right? So like yeah, it's trafficking hands down. So even just on Cassie alone, all the prosecution has to do is just convince that jury, right, that she was an unwilling participant, and he's done
Hmm.
just on that part alone.
I think that also his daughters being in the room. I know they walked out during a certain testimony that was given. Uh, how does you think that makes him feel as a man, as a father, to for your family to hear some of the things that you have been doing in your life?
I think it's probably hitting him in a way that it he probably hadn't even thought of before, because his sons are older, so I'm sure he's probably introduced them to that lifestyle a while ago. And rumor is, I don't know, rumor is that his father, Puffy's father, was about that life, not that
Mm,
life, but like he was a gangster, right? I think he drove for Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas. Um, so I'm very sure he was, you ain't finna be soft around me. You know what I mean? Especially for that time frame. So I'm sure
hmm,
he probably
hmm,
got introduced into some lifestyle stuff that he had no business getting introduced to very early on. So you would only perpetuate that with your own sons. Like, hey man, I'm Diddy, brother love, whatever. Like, can't stop, won't stop. I got girls in the studio. You come to the studio with me because I'm gonna teach you how to be a man. Because
hmm,
in his mind, that's how you be a man. You know what I'm
hmm,
saying? So like, I'm pretty sure he put his sons in situations that they probably had no business. But as a father, I'm sure he treated his daughters differently because most fathers do, right?
hmm,
It's a difference in how you treat your sons versus your daughters. So I'm sure now that they are having no, I'm sure it hurt him. The humanity of seeing his kids walk out because they can't stand hearing what they're hearing, right? Who up into this, well, I'm sure because they were young, but how they felt about Cassie, I'm sure they had probably had some level of connection with her because she was around when they were younger, right? So to hear these things and her to talk about your father like that, I'm sure it probably made them feel some type of way.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay. All right. So I think that more to come on this case. A lot
For
is
sure.
definitely going to be coming out. I'm pretty sure it will be. I was just given um, a warning, I guess you could say. I need to go do some husbandly things. So we had a good conversation actually. We've been on for about an hour, hour and a half. Um, a lot of discussion topics. I think that we should bring this last topic back up probably in the next one because I'm pretty sure some more stuff will come
Oh
out
yeah, for sure.
by the time we have the next conversation. But I don't want to say that we're just done talking about this because again, this is
It's
a
unfolding.
it is unfolding, but it also affects so many people in regards to uh, people are still maybe going through these situations, today, um, whether it be willingly or unwillingly. And then they're looking at these cases as well to try to make sure that hey, she got off, or this person, this um, predator, I would say, uh, is getting his due justice, and maybe I can get some for me as well.
Hmm.
So again, it was a good conversation. Very heavy towards the end, honestly, and lighthearted. We tried to make it a little bit lighthearted, but we started talking about political stuff. It was kind of up and down, in my opinion. But I think it's conversation that actually needs to be held uh, in the spaces that we're in today.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I really had nothing else to add to that. Like you said, it's ongoing. We'll look to see what comes of it in the future of this conversation, as well as the ICE situation and deportation of people in this country. So all this stuff is ongoing, man. We just in the first, we ain't even made it through the first 6 months of this presidency. So like, hey, we about to see what happened.
We didn't even talk about the gift that Dubai gave him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so there's so much going on, so much.
Yeah. But like and subscribe.
Absolutely, like and subscribe, comment.
Yep, for sure.
And we'll see y'all next time. And we appreciate
see you
y'all
next
man.
time, for sure. All right, man.
Peace.